When multiplying fractions by fractions, it's really easy to tell fifth graders, hey, you just multiply straight across. And so you can show them 1/2 times 1/3 is the same thing as 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6, and you get an answer of 1/6. And you kind of get puzzled looks because when adding and subtracting, it's so important that you have common denominators. And so when they see this, they almost look like you're trying to trick them. Okay, 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6? We can just go straight across? Why does that work? And so even here, I'll still have kids wanting to do common denominators. I'm like, hey, go for it. You're kind of wasting your time, but sure. So I'll have students even go like, okay, 3/6 times 2/6. Now 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2, and 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. And so when then they're like, okay, now I'm going to multiply straight across, and they'll get an answer of 6/36. And I point out to them, I kind of whisper it to them, like, hey, psst, that's an equivalent fraction. You get the same answer. And they're like, okay, so why does that work? So yes, the short answer here, multiplying fractions by fractions, multiply straight across. Don't need to deal with common denominators because you're going to get the same answer either way. But a way of showing them this is using a visual model, just as like, hey, I'm not trying to trick you. I know it sounds like a trick because everything we do has so much explanation now. So I'll show you what we're doing here. So 1/2 times 1/3 is, you can also say 1/2 of 1/3. So what is 1/2 of a third? And we can do this by drawing out a third. So here's a third. I'll shade it in with green. So there's my 1/3. And the question asks, remember, what is 1/2 of 1/3? So let's go ahead and half that 1/3. And basically your answer is right here. Whatever this piece is, what's the size of that piece? Well, we can extend this line out here. So this piece right here is our answer. That is one piece out of, let's count the pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your answer is 1/6. And like I said again, you can multiply straight across and get your answer. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. So 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6, or 1/2 of 1/3 is 1/6. So I have one that's changed up. Now we have our numerators are different. Now we have 3/4 and 2/5. So again, we can say 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 5 is 20. And depending on the kid or how much exposure to this, they're still going to look at me funny. We can just multiply straight across. It doesn't seem right. Like, yes, you can, but you still get those sticklers that want to make this out of 20ths. And I say, man, you're doing lots of hard work here. So we get that by 15/20ths and 5/4. And I'm like, okay, if you want to go ahead and now you feel comfortable because they're confident, go ahead, 15 times 8 and 20 times 20. And they kind of looking like, okay, maybe I should buy into that. Maybe I should just trust Mr. Nielsen. We can multiply straight across. Another way, though, instead of saying go ahead and do all that, we can do that visual model again. We can think of this as, what's 3/4 of 2/5? So again, we can draw out 2/5. So if I draw out 2/5, you get a rectangle going here. Alright, so let me make fifths. Let me shade in 2 of them. So there's 1/5, 2/5, and I'm thinking, okay, what's 3/4 of that? So I need to break this into fourths. So if I break that into fourths, and one more, okay. So here was my original, in the green was my original 2/5. I'll go back to that. Here's 1/5 plus the 1/5 I had down here. Alright, then I broke it into fourths over here. So a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and a fourth. And I'm trying now to figure out what is 3/4 of that. So what is 3/4? My answer is going to be right here. What is this portion here? And my answer, let's see how many I circled. I circled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my 6 right there. And out of how many pieces total? Well, let's see, there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 pieces. So 3/4 of 2/5 is 6/20. And again, we could just multiply straight across. But there's some visual models there and even equivalent fractions. You're all going to get the same answer.